Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Kakadash, Dolans to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Many blessings and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the house of David, the Bayah, that would die for whom these epistles are written for in his last days. Shalom to the elect. I want to do a quick lesson or quick enough lesson, just dealing with the fact that we're in the last days. These distractions are increasing, but we are keeping our eye on the prize, which is the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so there's uproars of the people in the world. You got rap beefs, quote unquote, and you got World War III popping off, and people are focusing on that. But in the background, there's nations like China that are doing moves like this. So through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, we want to give you the edification that you need to nourish, all right, and see this end, all right, for what it is. So without any further ado, all right. So this is from Reuters. It says China approves, all right, market launch of brain computer interface medical device in world's first. So please do not get it twisted that just because we touch on Esau Edom the most, right? Because he's leading this charge of rebellion against the Lord and his people. He is not coming alone. He's coming with other friends. All right, the Moabites, the Ammonites, all the other nations. They're all in agreement. Okay, on the chip being the new thing to come into the earth. All right, to be the new financial system, to be the new tracking system, to be the new medical device. All these things, and they're going to use it as peace and safety. All right, to try to fool you into taking or accepting this new system, and that's exactly where we're going. So I'm gonna get real quick into this article from Reuters. It says China's drug regulator said on Friday that it has given the nod for a brain-computer interface (BCI) system that helps restore hand movement ability to be sold. It says the world's first approval of a BCI device for commercial use. So this is big news. Okay, so if you're paying attention, you understand that, all right, according to Psalms 83, which we're going to get, that the Moabites are going to play a major part in not only our destruction, but hopefully they're physically trying to erase us from the kingdom of heaven. Okay, they're trying to erase the kingdom of heaven, period. All right. It says the device is made by Baru Kong Medical Technology, Shanghai, and its tech aims to restore movement and communication to humans suffering from different forms of paralysis. It says it is designed for patients with quadriplegia, caused by cervical spinal cord injuries, helping them regain the hand grasping via a glove. So peace and safety, according to 1 Thessalonians 5. This is exactly the way they would come. All right. The Lord said to be on your guard. The Lord said that he would send men, into the land to warn you of the pending danger that's coming your way. And if you're not watching or you're not paying attention to what those men are saying, all right, which we believe those men to be the men of Great Millstone, all the way down to, camps that agree with them in doctrine. Okay. Listen. It's not hard to understand why we're telling you this, because it's our job. But also, the elect needs to hear this, because if at some point they're going to rebel against this very same system, it's prophesied that they would do that. So we have high belief that the elect are hearing these words and they're changing their ways. It says the National Medical Products Administration said the BCI products, like the one approved on Friday, have been prioritized, noting the sector has been designed for a future industry in Beijing's latest 5-year plan released last week. So they're telling you, hey, this is a part of our system. And if you want to be able to eat, if you want to be able to be protected in these last days, you're going to have to be a part of this system. We're going to play a quick video real quick, and we're going to get some scriptures to let you know this is serious business, okay?
China has approved the first ever invasive brain-computer interface product, marking a major milestone in the global race for neurotechnology. The Chinese state food...
By the way, fair use. YouTube, I want to say fair use. This is, we're just measuring the times that we're in according to the scriptures, the Bible.
And Drug Administration has granted approval to Neuracle Technology in Shanghai to sell a brain implant designed for patients partially paralyzed due to spinal cord injuries. In clinical trials, the Neuracle neurocomputer interface helped patients improve their ability to hold and grasp objects with their hands. The system allows the brain to communicate directly with external devices, enabling control of computers and electronics using only the power of thought. Chinese startups developing brain-computer interfaces receive strong support from the government, with BCI listed as a strategic industry in the latest 5-year plan. Following the announcement, shares of several companies related to BCI technology in Hong Kong surged by more than 10%. The newly approved Neuracle system includes implantable brain sensors, a robotic glove, surgical instruments, and specialized decoding algorithms. Designed for partial mobility, the implant uses fewer detection channels and is positioned outside the outer shell of the brain. With startups like Shanghai StareMed and Science Corp raising hundreds of millions, the global race for advanced neurotechnology is intensifying. The race to connect the human brain with machines has entered a new era. Like this video and subscribe for more future tech updates.
Yeah. So basically, like the article was saying, okay. And Moab is look, we address the so-called white man often because he is the leader of the rebellion against the Lord and his people. But make no mistake about it, he has cohorts. He has people that agree with him. And we're going to read about a few of them, right? So this is Psalms 83. I'm going to start at 2. It says, "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head." All right, and the so-called white man is the head of that, okay? But he has people, all right, are nations of people that are with him in agreement. Okay, verse 3, it says, "They have taken a crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones." And this is a part of that crafty counsel. They're going to say, hey, look, man, if you want to be a part of the new system, you're going to have to get this invasive procedure done in order for you to serve our power, not the power of Israel, not the God of Israel. We want you to serve our power, which is science, right? It says they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. It says that the name of the Israel may no more be in remembrance. And that's what they're doing. Okay, this is exactly what this is. For the people who don't believe, who cares? Okay, who cares if you don't believe? But you gonna know what we were saying in the end was true. Those words will leave your mouth. If not leave your mouth, they will be in your head. Okay, as they're chipping your ass. All right. It says, "For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." That's right. So they all a part of this so-called Chinese man, so-called Japanese man, so-called East Indian man. All right. Those are the so-called Samoans. All right. All those people against Israel. Hey, the Amalekite. All right. The Amalekite man over there creating all them wars, talking about he got an iron dome. That shit failing already. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Make no mistake about it. Those are the Amalekites. They are of the same tribe of Edom. Okay. The grandson of Edom. All right. But Edom himself is leading this charge. But the Moabites are down with this too. They ain't innocent in this. All right. It says, now it starts to name names. The Lord is going to name names here. This is Psalms 83 and 6. It says the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, right? Those so-called Arabs over there. Okay. They down with this shit too. Okay. It says of Moab and the Hagarenes, of Gabal and Ammon. Okay. And Amalek, the Philistines, which are them so-called Africans over there, those East Africans, a lot of them, those are Hamites, man. All right. Them Somalis, Kenyans, for the most part, because, Jake is everywhere, but Jake is in every tribe. But those are definitely, for most part, those are Hamites. All right. Especially on the east coast of Africa, Ethiopia, Okay. In a lot of places down in Africa. But those are our enemies as well. Okay. Ancient enemies. It says, Ashur also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah. That's right. So it's the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, the Gabal and Ammon, okay, and Amalek, the Philistines, and the inhabitants of Tyre. So, yeah, those are all the nations that are against us. Now, you don't notice, you don't hear Japhetic or Japhet, right? Yeah, because they don't play any significant part in the prophecy going forward. Okay, but they still enemies. Everyone that's not of Israel are enemies of Israel. Okay, and I ain't talking about them people over there with those small, tiny hats on their head. I ain't talking about them. Those ain't the real ones. Those are Amalek. All right, that's the tribe of Amalek. That's why they call everybody Amalek, because they know who Amalek is. It's them. You trace their history, you understand that they go back to Ammon. All right. And Moab he down with the whole cause of this, right? So the Lord named him by name as well. Moab is down with this, even if you don't believe. you know, even if you don't believe. What's that one? Deuteronomy 23:3. And the Lord knows who his enemies are. He names them. Okay? Remember, the Lord is a man of war. All right, this is Deuteronomy 23:3. And just because you post something that says, go, oh my God, I literally didn't say that. Yes, it did. It does. The Lord is in oneness with his son, Yahushua, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ. He's in oneness. So meaning the mind of the Lord is as his son. He is not the same as his son, because there's a dynamic. You understand that the Lord Yahweh, he is known as the Ancient of Days. There's no creation story of the Most High Yahweh, but there is one of Yahushua. He calls himself the Alpha and the Omega. He gives himself a time period, the beginning and the end. Okay, the beginning of righteousness started with man, I hate when we gotta get the fuck up out of here, man. Okay. The Adamites, right? So the beginning of righteousness on the earth, there were people before the Adamites, but the beginning of righteousness began with Adam and the Adamites. Okay. That's when righteousness began. And the end of wickedness is going to be with Adam again. This time as Yahushua. Okay, so he prophesied that he was the beginning and the end, and he is the end. So anyway, I just want to get that in there. This is Deuteronomy 23:3. It says, an Ammonite, and a Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord Yahweh. That's right. So who are these people that say, I don't understand these people that say, hey, well, God loves everybody, right? God loves everybody. And the Lord, and all you got to do is confess the Lord's name as Jesus, and blah, 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 blah. Right? But then you'll read scriptures like this, but then they'll say, well, no, well, that's the Old Testament. But then they'll say, well, you still need to give tithes, which is in the Old Testament. See, these people are all over the fucking place. If you don't know the Bible, shut the fuck up. This is Deuteronomy 23:3. It says, an Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord Yahweh, even to their 10th generation, which is forever. It says, shall they not enter into the congregation of the Lord forever, which is the Lord Yahweh. Okay, because they met you not with bread and with water in the way when ye came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against thee Balaam, all right, the son of Beor and of Pethor, It says, and of Mesopotamia to curse thee. So they threw curses on you when you left Egypt. Okay. So when you read about the Chinese and how they're developing this tech, they not doing this to fucking help you. They doing this to destroy you. Okay. Just as Edom, their butt buddy, which is Edom. Edom hates you. Moab is right there next to him, hating you too. They look down upon you. So we don't give a shit about no fucking Moabite, as today you would call a Chinese. But does that mean that Jacob is not immense in the tribe of Moab? Yes. There's some notable ones. You might know him by name, like Bruce Lee. He presents as a Moabite, but he's actually an Israelite. Or Bolo Young, all right, who presents as a Moabite, but really he's an Israelite. You can sense the spirit. It's different. You ever be around a Moabite, man, that they look dead. They don't know what the fuck going on. They can't drive or shit. It's just, sharing a road with them is like, that pew pew word, man, to yourself. That's what it's like, man. Anyway, that's just my, little rant. But they're down with this system. So they throwing curses on you too. They wish nothing but harm unto you too. So when people tell us, well, no, y'all doing this wrong. That's not what it's about. Yes, it is. Okay? Because we still got to be we still got to be on guard for all of our enemies. Our enemies are many. Okay? We're not going to just address Esau, Edom. We're going to address all our enemies. Esau just happens to be the head of the snake. This is 1 Peter 5:8. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your let me read it again. 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. So in this lesson, we addressing Moab and Ammon. Those are both demonic nations, okay? And they're demonically inclined or in line with Esau, Edom, and his world domination, all right? His quest for world domination. They're on the bad side, okay? As Cat Williams would say, I'm on God's side and they on the other side. But listen, this is the truth. People are uncomfortable. They listen to messages like this and they don't like it. It doesn't fit the narrative of God loves everyone, or he creates everybody to love them all. No. He creates his own enemies too. Okay? He chose a nation and it makes people uncomfortable. He chose his favorite and people don't like that. That is the reality of the situation. Therefore, they're trying to overtake this world and run it the way they want to run it and cut the Lord out of it, which will never happen, but they're going to try it anyway. All right, this is 1 Peter 5:8. It says, be sober and be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to get caught up in that. Okay? We're presenting you with the technology that they said that they were going to use to persecute you with. And we get pushback from that. We go to Revelation 13. We go to Isaiah 32. We go to all these many different scriptures and people won't believe, but only the elect will. That's why we say the elect are the ones that are going to be salvaged and everybody else destroyed. That makes people very paranoid, very unhappy. So they push back and they talk shit. Oh, you black Hebrew Israelite, whatever, man. I don't give a fuck what you think about me. Think about this. Nukes are coming and you're going to be on the land when they drop. All right, this is Psalms 10:2. It says, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. That's right. So they want to invade your privacy, okay, with this microchip. You ain't got shit to say about that, but you want God to love everybody. Shut the fuck up. It says, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord Yahweh abhorreth. That's right. So they're covetous of this spirit of trying to rule the entire world through the microchip. People think it's just the so-called white man or some people in Israel. No, no, no. You have many enemies. Okay? Israel has many enemies, and Moab is one of the more prominent ones. I despise Moab. I despise Ham, but I really despise Edom. Despise them. Okay? And the Lord is going to, he's going, hey, and if I'm of the elect, man, the Lord is going to be able to, we're going to be able to rule over these people, your enemies, man. You're going to be able to rule over these people, and they're going to have to build your kingdom just like you built theirs. Okay? That makes people really uncomfortable. And to that, I say I don't care. Okay? It says, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord Yahweh abhorreth. It says, the wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. It's talking about Edom, but the rest of these nations as well. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all of his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. And we know this is talking about the so-called white man, because he's the king of pride on land. Okay? He's the king of proud. The king of proud. It says, verse 8, it says, he sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, in the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. And that's what we're talking about. Into his pit, which means system. He wants to capture you through the microchip into his system, where you will not serve Yahweh nor his son Yahweh Shai, and you will be permanent slaves forever and ever and ever. That's his plan, led by the so-called white man. But Moab, in this case, he's definitely down for the cause. People don't want to believe that the so-called Chinese people, they're so-called Chinese, but that's not their name. They're Moabites. Okay, Moab is down for the cause. He wants to see Israel destroyed too. Okay? But people don't want to believe it, but it's fine. You ain't got to believe it. You do not have to believe it. But one thing about it, though, you will have to deal with the Lord, because the Lord is going to repay all his enemies, both foreign and domestic. Okay, this is Zephaniah 2:8. It says, I have heard the reproach of Moab and the revelings of the children of Ammon. That's right. So Moab is out here. He pushing this. Look, this got into Reuters, to Bloomberg. Those are American. Those are American institutions. So the Lord has heard the revelings of Ammon and Moab, saying how much they are going to rule this world, because they believe, the Moabites actually believe that they're going to be the new rulers of the earth once Edom falls in destruction, which is America. Babylon the Great. Once Babylon falls, Moab believes he's going to be the next in power. You're crazy, Moab. You're out of your fucking mind. And let's get that real quick. We'll go back to that. Let's get Psalms 2:1, right? They actually believe that fairy tale. Moab will not be the next ruler of the earth. This is Psalms 2:1. It says, why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing, which vain means empty. So why are you imagining a vain thing, as Moab, who can't fucking drive 2 feet in front of him, is going to rule the entire earth? Are you out of your mind? Moab can't rule his bathroom sink. How in the fuck is he gonna rule the entire earth? He can't rule between yellow and white lines. Okay? No, the Lord is not. No, 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 no. Once Babylon is destroyed, that's it. That's it for all heathen. You had your turn. You fucked it up. Okay? This is Psalm 2:1. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh, which that goes back to Psalms 83, right? And against the anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, and the Lord Yahweh Ba'al Shai shall have them in derision, which he does. He has them in total derision. They don't know what's going on. Moab don't. I don't think Moab never. Moab is. Ammon got a little bit more sense, and they make better looking women, because Moab is through. I'm not saying there ain't no, but brothers have preferences or whatever. But Ammon makes better looking women, but Moab is just silly looking, man. Okay. They love Esau. They love Esau. Okay, you can love them even. You can love them all as you want, because both of y'all ass going into slavery. Okay, according to the Bible, both of y'all ass and Ammon too. Okay, it says this is Zephaniah 2:8. It says, I have heard the reproach of Moab and the revelings of the children of Ammon, whereby they have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their border. Right. So they think, well, we're going to rule the world after Esau falls. We're going to be the next rulers. Bullshit. Verse 9, it says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, even the breeding of nettles and salt pits, and a perpetual desolation. Woo! This is victory over our enemies. Now, whether people dislike it or dislike videos like this, I don't give a damn. The Bible says what it says, and you saying what you're saying has no consequence on that, okay? It says, and the salt pits and the perpetual desolation, the residue of my people shall spoil them, and the remnant of my people shall possess them. This shall they have for their pride, because they have reproached and magnified themselves against the people of the Lord Yahweh of hosts. So when they, you hear about all these commercials they got over in China, okay, all racist and shit, okay, super duper racist, man, that's just on brand. That's just on brand. That's them magnifying themselves against Israel. They got no heat for the so-called white man. They talk their little shit. But the Lord is going to get the spirit on them to shoot nukes on this fucking place. And for that, hey, the water. Because you're going to help in our ascension anyway. And as we are ascending out of Babylon the Great and into the chariots, that when we shoot them nukes, guess what? When we come down from partying with Yahweh Shai, all right, we come down and we're going to chain your ass. And your ass is going to clean up all the bodies, all right, from World War III. Okay, and you're going to put your weapons down and you're going to serve the kingdom of heaven, whether you want to or not. Okay, so Moab is down with the system, all right? They're down with this system coming in. They want this system just like Esau, Edom does. The only reason they beefing is because they fighting to see who's going to sit at the head of the table. But the table still exists. Okay? These goddamn devils. And people get mad at us. Our people get mad at us for telling them the truth. Okay? This is 2 Esdras 15:1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, man. And that's what we're doing. Moab is down with this. He wants to cut you off as a nation. Okay? But the Lord has other plans. It says, "Speak thou in the words of my people, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai." So these are not our words. These are words that were given unto us from Yahweh Shema Shai. And you, being someone who might be listening who disagrees with this video, please understand, read Romans 3:3. And that's why we have the attitude we do towards this world. Okay? Whether you believe or not, it's not going to destroy the faith of the elect. Whether you believe or not, it's not going to stop what's coming. Okay? The micro seed is here, and you have a decision to make. Are you down with this system, or are you down with the kingdom of heaven? And you can say you're down with the kingdom of heaven as of now, but there's going to be a testing period to figure out truly if you are. If everything is taken from you, and this is going to be hardest on the people that have sold out and become filthy rich in this system. You're going to have the hardest decision. Because if you're an Israelite and you got filthy rich during this system and you had to do all type of bugged out shit to get it, okay, you're going to be faced with a tough decision. Do you give it all up and serve and possibly lose your life? All right. But the Lord will be, if you're of the elect, the Lord will protect you. Okay. Or, if you have to be martyred, it is what it is, but you'll be on the chariot arriving, waiting for the others that resisted as well. Or are you going to just sell out like you did before and and accept the system for what it is and make justifications for it? Because there's going to be a lot of that going on. Okay. So I'm going to play this last video, and I pray again that this was edifying. Call on Yahweh Shema Shai. He has given us everything that we need, and everything that we need is going to protect us. For the battle that's coming, that's already here. And the Heavenly Father is going to protect us in these last days, Adawan Ratazah, as these people are being destroyed.
And we're seeing that with the bird flu recently. Their PCR testing flocks entire, thousands of birds and then destroying them based on these tests. So do you think that people are not really testing positive for anything? Or do you think that people are just dealing with exposure to this bioweapon differently?
So what they're actually doing is seeding the brain with two different things. One, the hydrogel to get it past the blood-brain barrier. So if you stick that swab up close, way up the nasal, there's not very far to go to get that hydrogel into the brain. What's hydrogel? Hydrogel was developed by DARPA, who wanted to chip every single person, but they didn't want to have to do brain surgery to do it. And so they developed hydrogel, which is a gel, and now it's in the air. It's in all of our food supply. It's in all pharmaceuticals, or most, I would say probably 90% of the pharmaceuticals at this point. I don't care if it's Tylenol or chemotherapy, it's there. Matter of fact, somebody just sent me, she lives in Spain, and she sent it to 2 laboratories in France, and it was a bottle of lidocaine that she had gotten at the dentist, and there were the creepy crawlies in the bottle, and hydrogel and graphene in the bottle of lidocaine that she had gone to the dentist. And she was terrified because she started getting all these heart palpitations and different symptoms. So, we've all got to be really careful. We cannot go into a bubble. This is where it's really important not to fear. You need to have your wits about you. You need to reduce and minimize your exposure.
Can you explain the hydrogel? You're the first person I noted that it talked about the quantum dot technology being the same as hydrogel. Well, I remember seeing and hearing about the quantum dot tattoo years before, as I saw little signs up in the airport about ID 2020. And so I immediately looked when I saw it, because the signs in the airport about ID 2020. I was like, what is this all about? This is years ago, right? This is probably 2016, maybe somewhere around there. I thought, what is ID 2020, right? What is that? And come to find out, it's actually technology that Bill Gates has developed, along with this quantum dot tattoo, is also his invention. So when you started kind of using hydrogel and quantum dot technology interchangeably, I was intrigued by that. Can you talk about that?
So hydrogel does not necessarily have color to it. It can, but typically if you see something that is unnatural in color, and I'll give you an example in just a moment, then it is probably quantum dot. And what would be the difference? It's because they use different types of imaging equipment. Everything from satellites to drones to airplanes to scanners that you see alongside the highway are scanning your body. And they can pick up exactly what's going on in your body with the signatures of those various colors.
Yeah, so if you if you ain't noticed already, the entire world is getting ready to change. World War III is already here, and the chips already here. The chips already here as well. You're gonna be forced with a decision to make. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Ashai, Ba'ashem, Wahara Kakadash. Shalom to the elect.